Welcome to College Football Monday, a Sons of Saturday live show brought to you by Jack and Coke. I'm your host, Pete B. I've got Sam Jesse here. This is our national show. We come to you each and every week, Monday night, 8 o'clock, to fill you in on what's been going on around the nation, along with a heavy dose of what the Hokies were up to. In this episode, we will recap all the Week 13 action. We'll go over any coaching things that have been happening. We'll go over what happened in Blacksburg, including Miami's visit to Lane, some of the James Franklin things that went on throughout the end of the week, some discussion there. We're having a guest to help us break down Virginia Tech in Dan from Tales of the Terrordome. He's going to join us about 8:30. We're going to get into the conference races and stock up, stock down, playoff teams, all the stuff we normally do. But to kick us off, I need a cheers from Sam.
I would say my biggest cheers right now goes to Virginia Tech finally playing with the big boys. It feels so good just to be included in these conversations. And I am very excited to talk about the potential staff James Franklin is building, the recruiting, all of that stuff, but also its impact on the national sport, what this does for the ACC, what it does for football in the Commonwealth. It could be a pretty big movement here on the national landscape of college football. So I will cheers to that.
Cheers, buddy.
No beer tonight. I'm on medication, and I've heard that's not the best idea.
Well, only if you want to have a good time.
No, I know. I know, right? I'm gonna leave it for I'm going to go 3 or 4 days and hopefully we'll be better.
No, that's the right move.
We're going protein shake tonight.
We do have a couple of comments in here from, I think this is Godfrey, but it's God Pear. He's changed his name here. What are your thoughts on Franklin's coaching staff? What are some names you are hearing? And then it's amazing how Franklin is able to create so much buzz and recruiting in a matter of days. He's a very detail-oriented coach. His way of talking and expressing is not something I've seen in college football. I'm also wondering, why is that font so big? I guess I
don't know.
I must have changed a setting here or there, but you can see the comments nice and clear. That's for sure. We will get to some of those when we get Dan on, and we're starting to talk about Virginia Tech and that kind of thing. I would call well, let me just back up on that. Comments, put them in the chat, like the video, subscribe. That's what we need from you guys. We are getting closer and closer to 5,000 subscribers. So please like and subscribe to the Sons of Saturday channel and like the video. Week 13, Sam, I'm going to call it Chalk Saturday because it was chalky. A lot of the heavy favorites won. A lot of the small favorites won. There were only 3 upsets in the top 25, one of which, of course, in the ACC. We also had Wisconsin beating Illinois. And what was the other one? Oh, Houston went down to TCU. But otherwise, Oregon won, Oklahoma won, Utah won, BYU, Vandy, Miami, Texas, Michigan, Tennessee, Arizona State even, who some people like the Buffs in that upset spot. No.
Nope.
Arizona State put the hammer down. Most of those teams I just ran off won by 3 scores or more. So it was kind of a lackluster weekend. There were some good games, but
there were some good games. It was a little bit though of like the SEC cupcake schedule mixed with the ACC. Some of those matchups maybe didn't materialize that we thought were going to materialize early in the season, mixed with USC Oregon wasn't the primetime game, and it felt like that should be the primetime game. But yeah, it was a fun Saturday still. We don't take any Saturdays for granted in the fall, that's for sure.
No, because we did get the craziness that was K-State and Utah. We're going to talk about that. The Pitt GT game had a little something to it at one point. We'll talk about that one too. Those are both in our top 5 game rundowns. I did want to bring up the AP poll, so let me put it on the screen for you guys. No changes 1 through 4. Oregon moves up a spot to number 5. And then there were no changes 8 through 12 because of all the things we talked about. Miami moved up to 13 ahead of Utah, as you can see there. UVA at 17. GT drops to 23 after their loss. Pitt to 24, which is funny that Pitt just beat them, but they are a spot behind them. Now, they do have an extra loss, but it is still funny because it's GT, Pitt, and SMU at 23, 24, and 25. So we managed to get 5 ACC teams in here yet again. just barely.
Yeah, shout out ACC there with 23 through 25, very on brand. And I think, when we get to our playoff picks at the end, last week we talked about kind of this line of demarcation in the AP poll where it seemed like above was the playoff contenders and below wasn't. I think it's really muddled now with like 11 through 17, I
Mhm.
think is like on the outside looking in, but knocking at the door. Miami, Utah, Michigan, all three of those teams have very similar resumes at this point, and all three of them are probably not going to be in a conference title game.
I know. It's really crazy because you think about this 12-team playoff. The top 10 teams feel like not that these top 10 teams, but like the top 10 teams at the final rankings are a lock. But the last two spots are likely going to an ACC champion who may not be in the top 12 and a G5 or G6 champion who's not in the top 12. So you really need to be in top 10 to feel good about your spot. And even if you're Miami and you see yourself at number 13 in the AP poll, say they were to come in at 12 tomorrow in the CFP rankings. Well, they're still probably out because if things go chalky again next weekend, they're not playing for the ACC title.
It is interesting because I think the committee, and again, this is the AP poll, not the College Football Playoff Committee poll, which will be released tomorrow night, has made it clear that they like Miami. And I think it's almost like this is why the conference automatic qualifier champion and stuff like that is really difficult in an age where the conferences are so large. Because I think if you were to poll 100 diehard college football fans, probably 90 of them would tell you that Miami's the best team in the ACC and that Miami has the best resume and Miami has the highest ceiling. Yet their shot of even getting to the ACC title game is they need a lot of results to go their way, a lot of tough results to go their way. We'll talk about that. But like, is Miami a better team than BYU, Vanderbilt? Like they could be.
They could be.
Are they better than JMU? Probably. They beat Notre Dame already.
And that's why you really need to, with those teams, when they all have the same record. Well, I should say BYU does not have the same record. And BYU is probably going to get a different type of screwed here because they're sitting in that 11 spot, which is very well going to be the first team out. And it's kind of nuts that we could potentially leave an 11-1 team. They have to win next weekend, but an 11-1 team with a loss to Texas Tech out of the playoff.
I mean, dude, is there a world where if you look at this AP poll, like let's say we were to take this AP poll and copy and paste it to the college football playoff poll, which will not happen, but it's the 5 top ranked conference champions. I see JMU and I see 2 American teams ahead of the trio of ACC teams that kind of have a shot at the ACC title. Really, really, it's a track of UVA and SMU. But if UVA, like let's say UVA loses to Tech, and let's say that title game ends up being, what would it then be? Georgia,
Pitt and SMU.
Pitt and SMU. Okay, man. I mean, the American champion is about to have another top 25 win between North Texas and Tulane of higher ranked teams, like
in higher ranked teams in this poll.
But
and
what
I'm
saying
is that
like,
the committee has been hating on the G6 teams, and they're particularly hating on JMU. And so
I think they reverse course on JMU this week. I do.
Despite the fact that JMU's loss keeps looking worse with Louisville floundering.
I think the 11 next to JMU is going to pull a lot of weight.
It will, but they have to get past Coastal on the turf this weekend too. We're playing this out as if all these teams are winning. I think tomorrow night when we see the CFP rankings, JMU is going to be behind all of these ACC teams. I think Tulane could be ahead of a couple ACC teams. I'm not sure it'll be ahead of all of them. And I think the committee, What this looks like to me, Sam, is that when the ACC kicks off their ACC title game, it's going to be between two ranked teams in both the AP and the CFP.
Yes, it will. My thought is a little bit more of like
the ACC is playing with fire. They're playing with fire.
If it doesn't look good next week, and then it doesn't look good on Championship Saturday, it's going to be tough because, dude, I've watched JMU play. They're better than those teams. Like if they were to play Louisville with a healthy Alonzo Barnett III, they beat Louisville. They probably beat them by multiple scores. I mean,
Here's what I'll say about the ACC, because you said you ask a lot of college football fans, they're saying Miami's the best team. Would you agree that SMU is playing the best football?
SMU is playing very well right now, but SMU had a rough start to the season.
They did.
They had a rough start.
They lost to Baylor and they lost to TCU, which is, hanging over their heads. I forget the other loss. That was the ACC loss. It was Wake, Wake is potentially a 9-win team this year. So, and it was by 1 point on the road. So it's funny that I'm qualifying a Wake loss, but you kind of have to do it at this point because we're splitting hairs on everything.
Tim is sick of it from the Dukes fans.
Look, JMU's very good. They struggled with Wazoo this weekend, and Wazoo gave problems to Ole Miss.
Whoops Among Us hasn't struggled with Wazoo.
They gave problems to a ranked UVA. Like
they gave problems to ranked Ole Miss.
That's what I said right before that. Like they have given these ranked teams when they're on the road, they've given them hell. That's why I took Wazoo with the points this weekend. And JMU almost fell, but they did not. They survived.
And Tim, I hate to burst your bubble, but I think we got a feeling that JMU Tech game's probably not going to happen next year.
It may not. It may not because of the 9-game schedule. Yeah.
Contractually, I think that's the easiest one for both schools to punt on.
It may be on the chopping block, that is for sure. But we'll get into a little bit more of this when we get to our playoff talk. But yeah, the ACC, like I don't think they're in any danger of missing the playoff, like because of the way things are going to play out. There is a doomsday scenario. I think Max and Cheese put this. Can't wait for the 5-way ACC tie. Now, can it be a 6-way tie or is it only 5?
I think it can be a 6.
I think it's possible for it to be a 6.
We'll talk about it later, but when we get to playoff picks.
Yeah.
But like
I have to look again at the standings.
The scenarios really aren't that crazy.
No, and the only two teams that are winning in are UVA and SMU. And if we spoil UVA and you get SMU and Pitt, the winner of that game is going to the playoff. That's just what's going to be.
I can't wait to bet against them.
Oh, in the first round?
Good golly almighty.
But do you agree with that? Do you really think there's any danger of the ACC getting left out?
If Pitt, maybe. I mean, if Georgia Tech gets smoked by Georgia, which they probably will after what we've seen.
Well, Georgia Tech has a very low likelihood of going to the
but if they get smoked, if Louisville loses to Kentucky, if Clemson loses, like if the perception takes a hit and you have all of this chaos for like 3-4-way ties, I think there's a chance.
I don't put anything past the ACC. There's a chance. I just think it's very unlikely.
But I think it's
seeing 5 teams in the AP poll. I think that means we're probably going to get 5 teams in the CFP. And like, if you've got 5 teams from one conference ranked, and I think as many as 6 can win 9 games, like you're not going to leave that conference out of the playoff. I know it's fun to kind of joke about, but I just don't see it happening. As far as coaching news goes, Sam, Justin Wilcox fired at Cal. This comes on the heels of the ugly loss to Stanford. However, this was brewing since the summertime. When Ron Rivera came in, there was different power dynamics going on. And not that the writing was on the wall for Wilcox, but the writing was on the wall for there to be someone winning this battle. And Wilcox lost.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. And in many ways, they've overachieved in the win-loss column this year, which is a great credit to them. And in their losses, they've been pretty close as well. It was a close loss on the road to Virginia Tech. It was a close loss at home to Virginia. You can't get beat up by your rival as someone on the hot seat. Mm-hmm. It's not going to work out very well for you. And so I think that was probably the move that needed to be made because it did feel like it got a little bit stale and that the best thing going for Cal was a recruit that's probably going to go somewhere else next year. Uh, it would be hilarious, I think. We're going to talk about Oregon here in a bit, but Dante Moore's probably going pro. It would be kind of funny if JKS ended up at Oregon after the decommitment.
Right. And this Cal thing now gets added to the list of openings. There's still a number of power openings. And someone that we talked about on the show last week is a prominent Cal alum, and that is Deshaun Jackson, who's got those Hornets poised for a potential conference championship this weekend. He's got to win a game. But that's an interesting name. I think he needs some more seasoning, but it's going to be talked. I saw it a little bit online already.
Does his son and or adopted pseudo son happen to be elite NFL talents? That would be a really good thing for him. I think dude, if you're Cal, what do you have to lose? Right? Like, I think Colorado is in this perspective. They're like, we suck. We've sucked for a decade now. Sure, let's swing for the fences. And if you're Cal, it's like even less of a swing for the fences because it's an alum.
Right. And I said this the other day. I didn't verify the years, but Deshaun Jackson spent time with the Washington Redskins, aka Commanders. Ron Rivera was the coach there for a long time. I would assume there's a relationship there. I'm pretty sure they had to have overlapped, but I'm not positive. It could have been Jay Gruden. Nevertheless, it's interesting. He's one of their most famous alums, and he happens to be a coach. We went through this with Michael Vick. As soon as he got hired by Norfolk State, everyone said, he's your next coach. Deshaun Jackson is actually doing good. He's actually
much better than the Norfolk State Spartans. I'll tell you that.
This Max and Cheese, hire Marshawn, you cowards.
Do it. Hey, I'll tell you, if you were to bring in, if you were to take that staff that they've built at Delaware State and you were just to transplant it to Berkeley, that could do something.
I like the offensive line coach they got at Delaware State right now.
Cool guy.
Eugene Chung would be a nice hire for any college.
Big time football guy. I think it's going to be really difficult for Cal to to pull that trigger on a guy who's only been a coach 1 year, really, and a bunch of other younger coaches on that staff as well. Eugene Chung probably being one of the more seasoned veteran coaches on that staff. But
I think
do it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Do it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like me and you have talked a little bit about this on the chat. Just he probably needs to stay and prove himself a little bit more before he gets a big time job. But who knows, man? Who knows?
Yep.
Top 5 games. Oregon beats USC 42-27. It's not like USC wasn't in this game. They had chances. It was 14-all in the second quarter, but the punt return by Benson that broke that tie kind of shifted things in this game. And then it always felt like USC was literally and figuratively playing catch up. They just couldn't quite get even again. It was 28-21 in the third quarter after the Lemon touchdown, but Oregon just kept scoring. They win by 2 touchdowns. Oregon also got super banged up in this game, and they managed to still move the ball really well.
Oregon's depth is insane. Oregon was down. I mean, if you count Evan Stewart, who's been out for the year, they were down their top 4 pass catchers on the outside. They got Kenyon Sadiq back at tight end, who is a monster.
He had a good game.
Yes. They were down their top 4 offensive linemen. And here they are, scoring 40-something points, running the ball like crazy. It's like they, as a program, they have built so much depth and so much size and speed across the board that it's like they can survive this another week. Washington's going to be a really tough game for them. They can win that game. They probably should win that game, even if nobody gets back healthy. They should get a couple guys back healthy on the offensive line. But that was a wildly impressive win for Oregon.
It was. And Moore was efficient. 22 of 30, 2 touchdowns. He did have the pick, but a 90 QBR in the game. You talked about the run game for Oregon, 179 yards as a team, 3 touchdowns on the ground. Whittington went for 104 and over 5 yards a clip. Maeva was good. I mean, not great, but good. 95.8 QBR. That's a little misleading because he had 2 interceptions, but they couldn't run the ball. King Miller had 15 carries for 30 yards. That is a 2 yards a carry average for those who are good at math out there. 2 wide receivers did go over 100 for USC, but neither was Lemon. That team is just stacked up at wide receiver.
Jacoby Lane looks like Calvin Johnson.
I know.
It's crazy. I mean, he is just like throw it up, he's down there somewhere.
And they were using that play. They were using that play.
They're a fun team.
Hines and Lane had 12 receptions combined for 250 combined. Their lines of scrimmage on Oregon are just like, they're too nasty. And Oregon is very, very good team. They have the ability to be elite if they get the right breaks. Like if they get a bye for this playoff, they could be set up, like that could really help them.
Need a bye, I think. They need a bye.
The alternative is a home game, and they're probably going to win a home game.
I do kind of selfishly want a home game. I mean, they need to get healthy. And
they do.
Unfortunately, because of their loss earlier in the year, they can't punt on the Washington game, which I don't think they ever would because that's a pretty hardcore rivalry up there. Mm-hmm. But man, if they get healthy, they can win a natty.
I was going to ask you, can Oregon win the natty?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they can.
Yeah. If you look at their resume, they beat that talented Penn State team who is playing better under Terry Smith right now. They've kind of steadied themselves and looked great against Nebraska. And Penn State was at full strength. They had their coach, they had their quarterback, and Oregon still went into a whiteout and beat them. So that was good. They lost a close one to Indiana. They won in Iowa City. They beat this scary good offense in USC. This Oregon team is tested. They are very much tested. And if they get healthy, they will have about as good a shot as anyone to win it all. I think they're just as good as a lot of the top SEC teams.
Oh, yeah. I think this team could hang with Georgia and Bama and A&M. Yeah, for sure.
Oklahoma smothers Mizzou. The Sooners have an identity, and it's been good enough to work against the teams that don't have special offenses, is what I would say.
Yeah.
Mizzou only mustered 70 rush yards in this one on 35 carries. Another 2 yards a carry stat in this show already.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's ugly, ugly, ugly. This is one of those games where you look at the advanced stats from it and then you just close out of the tab immediately because it's not pretty. I mean, you're looking at success rates for both teams in the low 40s, about 4.5 yards per play for both teams. Neither quarterback was very good. Both defenses caused a ton of havoc, 21% havoc rate for both defenses. This is the kind of game that Oklahoma wants to play and with that they can win with. And they're probably in the playoff now. I'm waiting for the committee to still rank Missouri because they need to prop up the rest of the SEC with all these Missouri wins.
Hey, Prabula's back. And it's kind of nice that Prabula's back now and he played crappy in this one to not have that prop up. And I wouldn't say that Oklahoma's in because if they lose to LSU next week, they're out.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, LSU.
I know. LSU's
could have lost to Western Kentucky.
They played
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They beat Western Kentucky by 3 points. That wasn't good. I would say on this game, final thoughts, Mateer, simply not good right now. I mean, that's not a mystery. That's not new. He was under 50% completion in this game, just 173 yards, 2 touchdowns. And if he continues to play like this, I don't think OU, they could beat somebody at home in this same kind of if they get a home playoff game. But they're not beating any decent team with Mateer like this. I mean, he's really not playing well at all.
No, he looked a lot better when he was playing San Jose State
and Temple.
Yeah, and Temple. Yeah, I mean,
Satania is a beast. I mean, that he's a monster, but there's not a whole lot on that offense right now.
Nope.
All right. I see our guest in the chat. I'm going to bring Dan on when we talk about Pitt in just a couple of minutes. One more game I want to get to with Sam first. Utah makes an incredible comeback versus K-State to keep their playoff hopes alive. I know you had eyes on this one. Utes were down 31-21 at the half. Joe Jackson, the running back for K-State, was unstoppable. He was mad, real mad. Joe Jackson.
This is the most stupid game I've ever seen in my life. Like neither defense could get a stop. I think there was like multiple stadium and Big 12 records broken this game. Kansas State averaged almost 9 yards per play and lost.
I know. They averaged, what did they have? 472 on the ground and they lost the game. That's like,
it was like they would just hand the ball off and run up the middle and there was no one there. And Utah started playing pretty much 9 men in the box. And it still didn't matter. It was really weird. But give so much credit to Utah for sticking in this. Their offense stayed in it, and they got a couple of big plays. Dampier was awesome running the ball. That was like such a gutsy win for Utah. And this feels a little bit like the season from hell for K-State. Like it just hasn't gone their way all season.
There was frustration after the game from Kleiman.
Yep. Anytime your AD like comes up and pats you on the back in the press conference, probably not
a tough year. It's been a tough year.
I think they stick with him. He's a name that's been floated around a couple places.
He's a good coach. Yeah.
He's a good coach. This year just hasn't gone their way.
Don't play in Ireland. Just don't do it.
Don't play your arch rival in Ireland. That's the college football gods punishing you.
You know what turned this game for Utah? The pick 2.
That is, and what's funny too is Utah, if you were to look at like which programs have the most pick sixes over the last 2 decades, Utah has almost double anybody else.
Is that right?
So I like that this is a pick 2 and it's very much the same flair, but
because once that happened, they were down 47-35 after the touchdown. They get the 2, it's 47-37, and then 75-yard drive, another stop, and it was just, and then at the end of the game, K-State threw an interception. It was over. I felt bad for K-State almost, but like Dampier was excellent, over 1,100 yards of offense from both teams. Joe Jackson, I need to say, he had 293 yards on 24 carries. That's insane. 3 touchdowns. What a game. But Utah will keep their slim chances at the playoff alive. Let's bring Dan into the fold because I want to talk about Pitt and Georgia Tech. Dan, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You are just a wee bit frozen on the
on the camera.
Yeah. Give me a second. Let me add him back.
He's still frozen, I think.
Now he's black.
Oh no, Dan.
Dan, do me a favor.
Yo.
Leave the room and come back in. I'm going to add you back. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about Pitt. Pitt smacks Georgia Tech. Pitt was up 28-0 in this game. GT turned it over on downs at midfield. They had an interception. Their defense was garbage. And everyone was kind of watching this and making fun of Georgia Tech and making fun of the ACC. And then things started to turn just a little bit. GT's defense started to get to the quarterback. Their O scored on that long drive. And then they added 7 more quickly to make it 28-14. And Sam, they were driving. 3rd down and 5, or I should say 3rd down at the 5. And Haynes King throws that pass
into triple coverage.
It was an awful throw. And it was a pick 6. Whether it was a 10-point swing or a 14-point swing, it was a massive swing. And that was more or less what felt like the end of the game. But Narduzzi did give Georgia Tech the tiniest window of opportunity when, let me just make sure I have this right, 4th and 9 at his own 41, decided to go for it. 4th and 9
with
in his own half of the field.
A very obvious direct snap to the up man. And the Georgia Tech just strung it out and he ended up tripping over his own blocker, I think. Like, that was so stupid because with the style of play that Georgia Tech has offensively, it's like they were kind of running out of time at that point.
No, definitely.
It was pretty poor.
If you're up by 2 scores and you're at midfield, you can pin them deep, and the Pitt defense was playing amazing. Were you watching that GT game when Narduzzi went for it on that 4th down, Dan?
No. I turned it to. I don't remember what game I turned it to, but I cut it off.
You just weren't watching it. But that was like that. That's Narduzzi at his finest. GT instantly scored. They cut the lead to 35-28, but Pitt got the big run on the ensuing drive, closed the door. I do think like Pitt is a better, more complete football team than Georgia Tech, but like Georgia Tech just like completely dropped the ball on this one. Like they just, I mean, and they looked bad. They've looked bad on defense for 2 straight weeks now. The BC game, they were lucky to escape with that one, and it finally caught up with them here. And now Pitt and Miami, like it's a big game. It kind of has a big game feel, but it's not really necessarily for anything right now.
Yeah, it's kind of it's more about what happens around them. I do think it is interesting because I picked Georgia Tech in this game. And one of the reasons I did that was because I wasn't super convinced in Pittsburgh's defense. And even after this, I'm still not. I didn't think it was very good. But that interception on the goal line, like this game ended up being a 14-point game, and that was a 14-point swing.
Yeah.
And I think starting a game down 28-0 is never a recipe for success, and that's ultimately why Georgia Tech lost this game. But it really did feel much more even than the scoreboard indicated once this game kind of got rolling and Georgia Tech made that comeback. But you got to give credit to Pitt. Like they bust off the long run at the end to put the nail in the coffin. They obviously got off to a great start after getting beat up at home against Notre Dame with game day there. Like that was kind of an embarrassing loss, to be honest. And then they bounced back and
of course. I mean, it's so typical ACC. It's so typical Narduzzi to get your teeth kicked in by Notre Dame and then
did
come
he
out
galaxy brain this?
No, he didn't, because he said I'd like to lose by 100.
He was
and
close.
Then Notre Dame basically did that to him. I hate the guy. I freaking hate the guy. He's a cancer for the ACC. They single-handedly like messing things up every single year by beating some of our best teams and then losing out of conference to West Virginia when they're awful. Like I can't stand him. But they go on the road, they beat GT, and now if they win, they might have an outside chance of getting in the ACC title game. And I'll tell you what, Pitt gets in that ACC title game, they probably win.
They probably win, and then they'll get like the 11 seed or something.
Right.
They'll play.
And they'll get embarrassed in the playoffs.
They'll get destroyed by whoever they play. Something interesting also about this game for me, Haynes King, awesome player. Love Haynes King. I would take Haynes King as my quarterback any day after what I've seen from the Hokies last decade. He can't really throw downfield. He kind of only throws like screen passes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Pitt necessarily had the horses in the stable to stop it, but like some red flags there for Georgia Tech.
Well, that's the interesting thing, Dan. Like if you look at Georgia Tech as a program and you see Haynes King leaving after this year, do you think that that's been essentially their whole team the last 2 seasons? Do you think that Key can like keep it afloat after he graduates?
I feel like he can find somebody.
Yeah.
Like they got money, I think. I don't know what it's looking like, if he's even going to be there, but I think they'll find somebody. I don't think he's like a Haynes King merchant.
No. See, I mean, maybe they like their backup quarterback too. Like what was it? Pyron? What's his name?
Yeah, Zach Pyron. I believe he went to Minnesota.
Oh, he already left.
Yeah, he's gone.
Well, no, Philo. There was another one, Philo.
Philo, I think, is still there.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm mixing those up, but they do have a little bit of an NIL thing going on, and they've been recruiting well, but it's going to be tough for them because they very much were the Haynes King team. Yeah. And Jamal Haynes is also awesome, but their playbook was like 3 pages big, and it's tough to consistently score with that.
All right, let's talk about one more game before we do VT Corner. And there's not a whole lot to say here. BYU beat Cincinnati in a snoozer. This is just the last of the big games I wanted to cover. And it was tough to come up with 5 this week. I'm not going to lie to you, Sam. 10-7 BYU at the half. Cincinnati already missed 2 field goals and turned it over on downs inside the 5 by the time halftime rolled around. Second half started with a Cincinnati interception and a BYU TD to make it 17-7. Then Cincinnati missed another field goal. That's 3. Then they had a fumble in the fourth quarter. I mean, Cincinnati took this opportunity and just flushed it directly down the toilet.
They did everything in their power to lose this game. I actually thought for a good amount they were the better team. And I mean, their kicker hadn't missed since like the middle of last year. And then the biggest game of the year, he misses 3 at home. And they don't get any points off of a first and goal. They turn it over on downs. They had the interception. They had the fumble. They should have won this game. Now, that being said, this was one of those college football games where it looked like one of the programs had access to a weight room and the other one didn't. So maybe BYU could have like pushed the pedal to the metal offensively in this one, because there were multiple plays where BYU was just road grading over Cincinnati players, both offensively and defensively. So I give BYU a lot of credit for that.
I mean, yeah, LJ Martin went for 222 in this game.
LJ Martin was like seek and destroy. Like he was looking for people to run over. It was really bad from the Cincinnati defensive backs and linebackers. Like they were not a good tackling team at all.
Bear was doing his thing in this game as well. I mean, not his typical game, and he's taken a beating all year long, and it kind of showed a little bit. But he did have a rush TD, put up some yards, and did enough to win the game on the road. And this BYU team is so good, and maybe they're not elite, but like I feel like they deserve a chance to at least compete in a playoff by going 11-1. We'll see if they take care of their business this weekend, but. That's it for the top 5 games. I did want to tell you guys that College Football Monday is brought to you by Jack and Coke. You can see that can right on your screen. 2 legends, 1 can. Jack and Coke, the #1 cocktail in the world, is available in a can. It's true. Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey mixed with Coca-Cola Classic or Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is now available in a can at your local grocery and convenience stores. They have the Jack and Vanilla, the Jack and Cherry, and the Jack and Coke Original all in a mixed pack. You can grab it just about anywhere they sell alcohol and or beer, depending on your state, and have things ready to go. No mixing needed. It's the perfect amount of alcohol, perfect, what did they say? By volume. You're not going to get that heavy hand or a light hand. It's going to be perfect. 2 legends, 1 can, Jack and Coke, ready to drink. And when you're having those Jack and Cokes, please drink responsibly. I want to make sure Dan's still with us because it's been a little bit frozen, so I can't tell if he's like there or not. Dan, how you feeling, man?
I feel good, honestly. I did an episode earlier. I might have cursed my. I don't know what's going on.
I think, Sam, when you're like playing a video game and you're like talking to the character and you're getting the audio and it's like one of those old school games, and that's what Dan's kind of like right now.
Yeah.
Hold on one second.
Yeah, take your time, man. You gonna reboot that router?
You might have to.
Yeah, because
goes.
This happened. We were doing our Hokie Hoops season preview, me, Ed, and Mike, and it like I can see Mike just fine. It's like me and you talking, and then Ed is like every 5 seconds. It's like he's strobing on me. It's tough. I wanted to get into. Hold on one second. Let me move while we're waiting for Dan real quick. I want to add this to the screen. This is live, so forgive me.
We're doing it live.
F it, we're gonna do it live. I swear to Christ, all my backgrounds got messed up.
Drinking OWYN protein shake. If only what you need, protein. If you want to sponsor the show, please do so. Many of the Sons of Saturday people, this is our go-to protein shake. So please.
I don't know if it's in locks or what, but we're just going to ride with this. All right. We are going to start VT Corner, everyone's favorite segment of College Football Monday. And I wanted to talk with Sam and Dan a little bit about Franklin's contract because the details of the contract have come out and it's it's not like it's the most crazy contract with all these like wild incentives or anything, but there are some pieces to it that are different than some others. So let's add Dan back to the screen.
Are we
Yo,
There
good?
we go.
looking much better.
For
Looking much
some
better.
reason, I think I don't know. My laptop hates Google Chrome,
Okay, it was
and
giving me an
StreamYard
issue.
usually runs better on Google Chrome, but Safari, we're here. I don't know. I had Vito one earlier. Maybe he cursed my stuff. I don't know.
Oh, Don V joined Tales of the Terrordome.
Yeah, I had to bring it. I had to give him a, at last one of the year, I had to bring somebody on with some fire.
I liked it. I like it. Do me one favor, Dan. Check your audio input. Make sure your mic is selected because you sound just like a little bit different. Then I just want to get you on the right mic. I was talking to Sam and I said,
Yeah,
I want to
I'm
go
on my
over.
mic.
Okay, you're good.
Yeah.
All right, let's rock. So this is the contract details for James Franklin. $41.7 million over 5 years for the Hokies, effective November 15th. And that is an important date because if you look here on the graphic that I got from David Cunningham, this is his tweet, 11/15/25 to 12/31/25. He's going to make $6 million for a month and a half of work. So you kind of, and it makes sense to a degree. It's just kind of funny the way the timing of it worked out. But through the 2026 season, we're going to end up paying James Franklin $12 million for a season of college football. Now, you'll notice that in 27 and 28, those are very low numbers. So it kind of all makes sense. You look surprised, Sam.
No, I think the his 2025 salary is prorated. It's not a full $6 million.
Meaning we're not paying him $6 million for a month and a half.
Yeah.
I did see the pro rata on there.
Yep.
But why wouldn't it just have had the amount?
You're asking a whole lot here. Be lucky that you saw contracted. Stop.
Okay. Well, all I'm saying is it says $42 million from the Hokies. So maybe
he's being paid a lot of money.
Yeah. Okay. And he's making a lot of money this year. And then it's kind of being subsidized by Penn State over the next 3 seasons, however it's playing out. And there's a lot of incentives with this contract too. That's something you pointed out on Twitter, Sam.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things on, reading through this on my way to see the Hokies play this weekend, which we will get to. The incentive for TV viewership I thought was really interesting because there's always bowl game, college football playoff, ACC championship, etc. I found that really interesting because when you did the math and you started to look at it, in terms of bonuses paid directly to James Franklin, leading the ACC in TV viewership for a year is equivalent to winning a national title. It's an $800,000 bonus to James Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Virginia Tech obviously would then go out and pay, I believe it would be $350,000 to the assistant coach pool and then $350,000 to the support staff. So that's an extra $700K on top of the $800K. You get to $1.5 million. But for me, what it signified 2 things. One, Virginia Tech views TV viewership as directly related to your head coach. And I think that's probably true. You look at what's happened with Deion Sanders. You look at Bill Belichick. You look at some other high-profile hirings that have happened. I think Lane Kiffin is a great example of this. Like, Ole Miss is awesome. They have a great tailgate scene, a great game day scene, cool uniforms, good team. But like the pull there is Lane Kiffin. Right. I think Virginia Tech sees the James Franklin hiring as a bit of a PR bonanza. Which it is. It has been so far. So that's one thing. The second thing is Virginia Tech sees success in TV viewership over the next 4 or 5 years as financially just as impactful as winning in the ACC at the highest level. They are willing to invest at a very, very high level to get that TV viewership. So I don't think that went into why you hire a James Franklin, who is very much a hot topic coach in college football. But I think it goes to show the direction that Virginia Tech is heading with this new look football program, that, the incentives for TV viewership they seem to be well thought out. And I believe this is something that they would have had prior to any knowledge of James Franklin. So I found that very interesting.
Yeah, Dan, when you see the numbers and you just see the contract, do you like, is this more than you expected, less than you expected, about what you expected? Like, what do you think about it?
I figured it would go this way. I figured the end would be we would pay more money. In the beginning, we would pay less because I thought that if you hired him, that Penn State would be covering a portion of that. I thought he would want to stick it to them that way, kind of like Russ did the Broncos with the Steelers. So yeah, I'm not surprised, and like that's fine with me. Like this dude is worth his weight in gold for what we're trying to do. So
Yeah, I am like, so if you add up those numbers, like that pro rata thing that we just were talking about, it does add up to 47 million. So that's more. So the pro rata means you're taking out like 5.25 million out of that 6, and we're only paying him 0.75 million from now to the. I don't really understand why it's laid out like this, but that's neither here nor there. It is backloaded, which makes sense. And as I said to Sam before, it's 5 seasons for like what is essentially 4 seasons worth of pay, because Penn State is more or less covering a season for us, Sam.
Yeah, and I think also if you look at how the pay is structured, Virginia Tech will probably hire the coordinator positions to 3-year contracts. So for me, if you look at where this is going, that they would be done with those contracts before they get to the heavy hitter years in 2029 and 2030. They will have renegotiated those contracts. And I also think it's important, another big asterisk here, the payouts for the college football playoff, those will be renegotiated if the format changes. I found that a little bit interesting as well, because the difference between getting into a 16-team playoff and a 12-team playoff is probably like a win or two for Virginia Tech. Like it could be pretty significant. I found that interesting as well. But you're pulling up this tweet now from David Cunningham about the assistant coach salary, and this is probably the biggest news.
Yeah, because we knew we were going to pay James Franklin a lot of money, and in all honesty, like the contract is less than I was expecting. I had prepped myself for 8 years, $80 million, and it's essentially half that amount of money and a little bit more than half that amount of years. So it is definitely less. Now, I'm not saying it's like this extreme bargain, but I think a lot of Hokies fans look at those numbers and been like, okay, this is better than I expected. Now he can earn several more $1 million by hitting those incentives, but we're all going to be happy if he makes those more $1 million, because it means things are going, unless he gets all of the ratings and none of the wins, and then that would be a little bit of a problem.
it's not our money.
Yeah, it's true. It's not our money. And that is the line that is the go-to line. However, I would say it is our money if we're completely broke and can't hire a new coach like Florida State in 4 years.
Yeah, that's very true.
Well, they also fired like 4 coaches and they still paying them. But
yeah, you're right. There's a lot of we still owe Fuentes some money. We still owe Price some money. Although Price might be working for his money.
Yeah, he might be in a work release program at Virginia Tech. Our coordinator numbers 3-year contracts. That's fine, because if it goes the way it's supposed to, they won't even see that term because they'll get snatched for head coaching job somewhere. Yeah.
If you're a power coordinator and you're right, if you're successful, you're probably not staying at a school for 3 years unless you're going to be the next head coach or some other, like it's very rare to have like an extreme amount of success as a coordinator and not bounce. But I don't know. We've seen longtime coordinators a lot of places, but like Sam said, look at this, Dan, the 9.5 full-time assistant salary pool that ranks us just ahead of Alabama if you go by the 2024 numbers. Now, I'm sure Bama and all these other schools will level up too, but this puts us in a top 15, top 10 kind of number for assistant salary pool. And then you've got the $6 million for support staff. So you're talking about $15.5 million. Like that, to me, that is the most shocking thing. I knew it was going to be well funded. How does that hit you?
I mean, it's kind of Vito was hitting on it earlier. He was we were talking. It's kind of funny how Tech just kind of snapped their fingers and all of a sudden we have big boy football money again. It's kind of like they were just hoping that Fuente and Pry could do it with minimal input from everybody else, And then when that didn't happen, they saw they actually had to spend money. It was like, oh, not only did we get our number one option who everyone wanted this time, unlike when we hired Fuente, like we got him, he was our number one option, but I don't remember a lot of like competition for him. And this one, we kind of just pushed everybody out of the way and said, this is our guy. And we went and got him, It just proves like, hey, they are serious now. And this is a serious hire with a lot of coaching currency to go out and get serious staff.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I mean, someone else asked that too. I think it was Billy put in a chat from like one of his friends, like, why were we like working with military rations with Pry and now we're just blowing it, completely out of the water with all this stuff? It's like, why did it take so long? Like, none of us really know the answer to that question. Witt decided to burn it all the way down to the ground before now everyone wants to pat him on the back. We could have done this before. We absolutely could have done this before, and we chose not to. I want to make that clear that you can pat Witt on the back all you want, but the reason we've sucked is because we didn't do shit like this for the last 5 years.
10, 15 years. I did make the joke that it was somewhat like an Avengers movie where they destroy the whole city. And then at the end of the movie, they're like, wait, we saved everybody. We did it. It's like, okay, I guess so. But
yeah,
half of New York City's destroyed. Actually, Cleveland is where they filmed the Avengers movies. But yeah, I don't know why it took Virginia Tech so long. Like, I think there are places to point to, but at the end of the day, like, I can't get down to the root answer of why it took Virginia Tech a decade plus to invest at the level. I do believe when people ask, like, where's the money coming from? Where's the money coming from? I think there was a lot of very wealthy donors, but also like a vast number of wealthy donors that just weren't being tapped into at all. And they didn't feel like they wanted to invest in this program. There didn't seem to be a like great vision because, right, like let's look at Pry's salary is like $4 million. Both of his coordinators are at like $1 million and below. He didn't have a massive support staff pool. Virginia Tech wasn't making facilities upgrades like the Beamer barn or additions to lane or something like that. So when you go to a massive donor and you tell them, hey, we want a big donation, and that person asks what for, what was Virginia Tech pointing to? Because you didn't have an assistant coach pool. You didn't have a seasoned head coach. You weren't doing stadium renovations and massive facilities upgrades. Like, it doesn't really surprise me that Virginia Tech wasn't able to get the donors that they did. So when you hire somebody like James Franklin, you show, hey, we are serious about this and this is what we need the money for. I think people are going to be a little more willing to pay up for it. Mm-hmm. I also think there are some donations from very wealthy people that normally go to like Pamplin College of Business and some other places that they're saying, you know what, we actually have enough. We don't need 7 more classroom buildings in Northern Virginia anymore. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. There's a timing to it, right, Dan? Like, things need to line up and you have to have the right donors with the money to donate at the right point in time, in addition to the actual school budget presentation getting approved. All this stuff has to hit. And then a guy with a huge name like James Franklin becomes available. All that just doesn't happen all the time. So I get that it's just not like, oh, this would have been so easy to do 5-10 years ago. But I think there's legs to the idea that like the budget could have been raised a while back and they just chose not to. I mean, JMU has had higher student fees for a long time, bigger than Virginia Tech's. And guess what? Their program's been good for a long time. And it's not just because of the student fees. They have actually, capable, adept people at their jobs as well. But that is part of this. And I understand that the timing and everything has to work perfectly. It is frustrating though, to think like, oh, you can do this? Oh, we can just do all this and just have more money. And it's unbelievable. Like you look at that number of the salary pool and it's like, dude, we are literally going to have like SEC money, at least at like half of the SEC. Like, we're going to be able to pay up initially like some of the biggest programs out there.
No, I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about that $3.1 million recruiting budget. That's not for like NIL, but like to like maneuver and go places, which tells me like Franklin's gonna be, if he's got to be in California, he's got to be in Texas, he's got to be in wherever, he's gonna be there. If he's got to go find a kicker in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, guess what? He's coming.
Going to Rio.
He's flying there. Yeah. Yeah.
I do think that's a good point because I think for a while Virginia Tech was very limited in the scope of their recruiting. I think Virginia Tech kind of needed recruits to fall into their lap. And when they tried to go out and get guys, it didn't really work, right? You know, the Texas to VT thing was a dud. Georgia to VT was a dud. You know, it really felt like Virginia Tech needed North Carolina and Virginia recruits to land at Virginia Tech. Other than that, like guys didn't really stick. With James Franklin, I think you can kind of broaden that net a little bit to a true 6-hour radius. Because I think what Virginia Tech was dealing with was like 4 hours, which was basically giving them the state of Virginia and Western North Carolina. But now with James Franklin and kind of his name brand, as well as the ability to have more recruiters on the road, you can actually have a bigger presence in, you know, East PA and New Jersey. You can have a bigger presence down in South Carolina and in, a Nashville area in Tennessee that's having more and more of these big private school type programs. I do think this broadens your horizons a lot. To be determined if Virginia Tech can actually land and keep these guys. I think James Franklin will get them in the door. I think success on the field is what's going to keep them in the building.
Yeah. Pry always said 6 hours. So, like, if you think of all, like, the things that Franklin's been saying about recruiting, him and Pry, like, it's obvious, like, Pry got his philosophy from Franklin. You know, win the state, 6-hour footprint, we'll go national if we have to. But the only difference is James Franklin is the guy with the social and coaching currency to be able to actually execute this because he has the resume to demand the resources to actually execute the vision. So I think, you know, his foresight to be like, hey, I need this much in NIL, and then the next year I need this much increase to be able to retain and reward. I think these kids will come in, and I think that they will stay.
Yeah. I mean, and you said that well, like there is very few coaches that can come in like James Franklin and essentially command respect on the recruiting trail to not just get that first year bump, but like to completely change the trajectory of our recruiting. Like this is not just like, oh, you got a new coach, he'll bring in some new commits with him, maybe a couple transfers. This is like, could be an overhaul of everything that we understand to be Virginia Tech recruiting.
I think the dynamic changes too because you bring in Fu, like you bring in Pry. It's kind of like we gave you your first big break, like you're here because of us. Whereas James Franklin came in like, no, I chose to be here. Like you're lucky to have me. You're gonna communicate, like you're gonna cooperate with me. Like you're gonna do what I ask. I think it's a different dynamic.
Yeah, it's definitely he can command more from the administration, and he has. There's no doubt about that. We'll get to these questions and then a little bit of Miami and UVA, and we'll close out VT Corner. But what are your thoughts on Franklin's coaching staff? What are some names you're hearing? There's very few public names available, as far as I know. I know there's a couple like admin type guys, and he said, I brought 8 guys with me that didn't know their title or how much they'd be making, but they came with me. And so DC and OC are clearly what people are interested in. I'm not sure a lot of the even fans that listen to our show care much beyond the coordinators. I know we all like, oh, is the new wide receiver coach. Like, okay, that's cool. But we want to know who's running the offense. We want to know who's running the defense. And like the Ricky Ronnie thing was sitting out there. He got asked about it, Dan. Like, do you have any thoughts on that? Like if that's someone you think we're pursuing or what?
I mean, I guess James Franklin was on the sideline just to see two former staffers that work for him. I'm sure it was completely 100%, what he said it was. But
Just a friendly visit.
yeah, but I think Ronnie is like obvious. Like, ooh, he was there at Penn State before, former staff member. Like, we could easily pay him more than the $723,000 he's making right now or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Decker, his OC, it seems like he runs a better offense than Ronnie ran at Penn State. But Franklin also attributed that to, hey, we run a different offense at Penn State because it's colder in the Northeast or whatever he said. I get what he was saying. He was like, you can't be flashy in the snow is basically what I think what he was trying to get at. So
it sounds like the same excuses
yeah.
the Big 12 coaches used to make for not being able to play defense.
That's crazy. How does Ohio State do it then?
Yeah, right.
In sunny Columbus.
I like Jordan Davis, Eric Morris's OC down at North Texas. Like, because Eric Morris is going to get a head job, whether it's Arkansas or Oklahoma State or somewhere, somebody's going to hire him. So I think, like, if you're looking at that up and coming G6 role to like bring up to be your Power 4 conference OC, I like Decker somewhat. I like Jordan Davis a lot. It's high octane, which is what Franklin said he wanted to run. I'm sure you could go snatch some other P4 guys offensively with the budget we have, but I mean, those are the only real like names like I've heard people float around.
Yeah. The Decker thing is interesting because if Ronnie doesn't leave, because he was talking about it today, like, I've only ever wanted to be here. Of course, every coach says that. But like Decker and Kojo, yeah, like Decker and Colton Joseph from ODU in Lane Stadium, not against us, sounds pretty nice.
Yeah, no, I agree. But the reason I didn't watch the Pitt game earlier, like I said, was because I was watching Penn State play Nebraska because I was scouting. I wanted to see what it was like. And
yeah,
I was not really on the Grunkemeyer train, but I kind of am now. Like, if they go get him and bring him to Tech, I'm cool with that. He makes the throws, and that's what we need. We need somebody to make the throws.
And I think a staple, and you kind of alluded to this, and Sam did too, James Franklin likes to run the ball. I mean, we saw Katron Allen break the Penn State all-time rushing record. We saw Nick Singleton tie Saquon Barkley's all-time touchdown record. They run the ball. Like, that is exactly what he likes to do. And I have always been, not just be it this year when we can't pass for shit. For a long time, I want Tech to have a running the ball identity. That's one of the things I like best about Franklin. I don't like the fact that he hasn't been able to develop a quarterback in quite a number of years, but he does like to run the ball, and his run game generally works. And so that's exciting to me. And we'll talk about what we have available in the running back room, and that could be a nice little combo. So how do you get the quarterback that fits with the system, that fits with running backs we might have on hand? These are the things that he needs to be thinking about, and I'm sure they are thinking about with regard to the OC. Because I think when they brought in Cole Nicky from Kansas to run the offense with Aller and those two great backs, it kind of didn't fit, Sam.
No. Daniels at Kansas is a polar opposite quarterback to Drew Aller, skill set wise. He does a lot of running around playmaking. Kansas had a little bit more, they were a little more speed heavy on offense. They played a little more up tempo. It was just a different fit. I don't think Cole Nicky was a good hire. To be honest, I think their DC hire was pretty poor too. So
wait, which one? But if you're Jim Knowles,
yeah, I do.
Jim Knowles just won a natty.
Well, Ohio State won a natty. Jim Knowles was. I think Ohio State fans were pretty happy to move on from Jim Knowles. I don't think they were super stoked about that. And I think paying $3 million for him was probably overpaying.
Well, the salary was outrageous.
Yes, and so I want people to keep that in mind too. Ricky Ronnie is currently making base salary of like $850,000. Franklin just paid a defensive coordinator $3 million. So, and I think he's willing to upgrade that pay.
If you just said two things, $3 million, I'll break my laptop.
No, we're not giving Ricky Ronnie. Oh, but Pete's already fallen apart at that thought of that. It's not going to be.
I don't think that's ever happened
anybody
before.
$3 million.
My ring light just fell on me. But yet you just scared me.
But
you scared me with that. Like Franklin's last 2 coordinator hires.
I
Now
don't
he
think they
was
were great
nailing.
coordinator
He was
hires.
nailing DC though. Like whether
yeah,
it was
I mean,
Pry, Manny, Tom Allen, like
all great.
they all did a fantastic job. And like that Penn State defense looked pretty good the other night.
Pretty good.
Where's Tom Allen?
It's Clemson.
Clemson.
Dabo hired his buddy. They're buddies, Tom Allen and Dabo,
Mhm.
and that was and Tom Allen's not getting the most out of that defense. I'll tell you right now.
As far as the Ricky Ronnie statements today that he made at their press conference, to quote Shakespeare, the lady doth protest too much, methinks. And I'm pretty confident that Virginia Tech's going to make Ricky Ronnie a pretty sizable offer.
Oh, is this Insider Sam?
That's it.
That's it.
I think they're gonna. I don't know if he takes it. I mean, yeah, some people might not accept an offer to double their pay for less work. Some people might not do that. I don't know. I wouldn't be one of those people, but some people might not do that.
Notable. Sam is in the shadow of SB Ballard Stadium as we speak right now.
I did have dinner in Norfolk tonight, so
if he brings
right
Decker
there.
with him, then that's fine. But
yeah, I mean, like, but Decker is probably going to either want a head coaching job or at least an OC job. So what's he going to be if he would have come with Ronnie? Like, he's going to, like, we're not getting both. It's one or the other, you know.
Then give me Decker.
Give you Decker. I would say the one thing with Ronnie that would be enticing to me would be his experience in close games. Like Old Dominion played an obscene amount of close games under him.
They have.
They played up to their opponents. They sometimes played below their opponents. He has a lot of experience there. I think that is something that Virginia Tech could leverage, especially from the offensive coordinator, because over the course of his career at ODU, they've actually gotten better at those games. So that's pretty good. And there are also games too where just a total game plan, they beat the team before kickoff. Like that game against Troy was schematically, they crushed them before the game. Like it was done. They won that game in the film room. So that is something also with Ronnie that I think is kind of exciting for me, because that roster at ODU it's not that good. It really isn't. I mean, it's a bunch of JUCO guys and Colton Joseph. So I think it's really impressive what they're doing
than their last couple years of rosters. I will say that. Like they felt better about that roster.
He can't recruit. Ronnie can't recruit. They're consistently one of the worst recruiting teams in FBS.
We don't need them to recruit.
And I feel like that's a symptom of just like the G5 right now. It is tough to recruit, period, because everyone's stealing your guys all the time.
Do we have to float around a certain someone for defensive coordinator?
No, it's not going to happen.
Nope.
But I was thinking, I'm more intrigued by like the dude from the Jaguars, Ryan Walters at Washington, running a pretty solid defense out there. He's like 21st in the nation before Saturday.
Walters has a nice history of being a defensive coordinator. Yeah.
I'm way more fascinated by the defensive coordinator hire, I think, than I am the offensive coordinator hire. Like Ronnie would be cool. Like I wouldn't be angry about it at all. Colton Joseph would be fine if you brought him with him, but I feel like with the money we have, that you could, like, I would much rather, if he enters the portal, throw money at Sam Leavitt or Sam Levitt, like somebody like that. That's like, that excites me. Like
a higher talent, like a higher recruit kind of kid, like a blue chipper. Yeah, I see what you're saying. And I don't know if it'll be Coach O or not. It's just the whole thing of Franklin being on the sidelines at the Old Dominion game has put this all in so many of our heads of whether it's a player or the coaches or whatever. But you're right, Dan. There's going to be plenty of good quarterbacks available on the portal. It could be, the kid that's playing at Penn State now. It could be Aller if he gets another extra year. Like I doubt that, but there's lots and lots of possibilities. As far as the D coordinator goes, with Franklin's history, I'm not worried about DC. Like, right. I don't think it would be Brent Pry. I think that if Pry has a role, it will be something other than DC. But look at his last few DCs. They're all big names. They're all for the most part, killers. Despite what Sam had to say about Jim Knowles has a pretty stellar career as a defensive coordinator.
No, he
It takes his
does.
defense.
He was being overpaid. There is no question
Yeah.
he was being overpaid this year, when they went out and swiped him from Ohio State. That seemed a little bit desperate on Penn State and James Franklin's part to go pay Jim Knowles that much money when you literally are just replacing every year and doing fine. But yeah, we'll get somebody good. I don't know who it's going to be yet. You can go through names. You can be on the boards and see all the names they're saying. Nobody knows. And we will just have to wait and see on that one.
I think if he made Pride defensive analyst or like director of high school relations, he would flourish in one of those two roles.
I think you're probably right, Dan. I think you're probably right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk just a little bit about Miami, because that whole contract and Franklin thing clearly went on, but that is the news of the day. We obviously want to give that. We played a football game, fellas, and we were wearing Hokies Stone jerseys, which I didn't see coming till they put out that video with the release that Jaden Keller was narrating over. Pretty cool, I guess. Not that this was it. I really thought it was because like we got a new coach and we want something exciting to go out on the field. Because otherwise, what was the point of that?
I don't know. Yeah. It won the Uniswag Uniform of the Week, which was pretty cool. Hang the banner.
Yeah, there you go.
Hang it.
I just I don't know. Usually you save those special uniforms for like a game that means something more. So that's why I felt like it was we got the coach, let's put him out there. But regardless, we're wearing the Hokies Stone jerseys. People love them. Recruits love them. We had a ton of recruits there. That probably played into it. And so Miami got off to a really good start and just passed all over us. Beck started 11 of 11. It was 14-3, then 20-3 at the half. We were moving the ball, especially on the ground, but we couldn't like break the big one, Sam. There was a couple plays here and there before we had the Overton run, which was an awesome run, and cut it to, was that 17-10? Was that what that was?
I think so, yep.
That provided like a little bit of excitement. It might have been 20-10. But man, it is fun to watch him run. Pat put on Twitter that Overton kind of like looks like Ryan Williams running the ball. Ryan Williams, our former running back, not the one in Alabama.
Yeah, he looks a little bit like he looks like he's running as hard as he possibly can. He has a great combination of like power and shifty. I think Virginia Tech, though, the issue was the pass defense was so horrific, has been so horrific that there just wasn't much of a test against Carson Beck in this offense. I felt like Miami could have thrown for 500 yards if they wanted to. They were lining up in like a full house pistol formation, though, half the game. Like they were trying to show as little as possible on film in this one. I think it was not a great matchup for Virginia Tech. But like you said, this might be the best rushing offense in the country. It's crazy because nobody's ran the ball like that on Miami. This was the most rushing yards against Miami of any team this year. And if Tech wasn't having to throw the ball in the fourth quarter so much, they probably could have gone for even more.
Yeah, we get both running backs back next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Terrion Stewart does not have any more eligibility, but Hawkins and obviously Overton, the true freshman, does. And that's exciting. Like that is the takeaway that you really come away from this game is like, wow, we got a stable of backs. We ran for 5.2 yards per carry when Miami's given up under 4 all year long. But it is just another part of watching this offense. It's like, I don't understand how we can be so efficient and so decent at this one part of offense and then just not be able to score and fail at every turn when, the screws get turned on us. Like it's frustrating. And we and Sam talked about it. Like you can't just run it every play, but like the per run, like efficiency metrics are just insane for this team.
Moved up to number 1 rush success rate team in the country. Number 1.
I also don't think that our star tight end has caught a pass since NC State.
Yeah. I mean, that's just not part of the offense at all using Benji or I guess they do use Hairston, right? Like
yeah, I like him.
Yeah.
Actually.
I mean, he had that one play that like, this was a horribly officiated game. That reminds me with him because they ran they reviewed that play, but it wasn't right away. And then after a timeout, they reviewed. I don't know. The whole game.
That crew is a mess.
It was an awful officiated game. Just terrible.
That was the Cal crew
It's
too,
the same
right?
crew.
Yeah.
They've been bad for years.
That was disgusting. But
I knew it wasn't the Miller Lights.
Miami kept getting the ball to Malachi Toney, and that proved to be bad for us. He had like 162 total on, I think it was 15 touches. Kid is just ridiculous. Another true freshman that's just starring out there. I don't really know where Miami would be without Malachi Toney. I think they'd be okay, but he makes a huge difference for them.
Yeah, he does. He's such a game breaker. Like, I want to draft him in my fantasy draft right now. He's that good. And he's like 18 years old.
And we did get to see Pop, Dan. What did you think when Pop threw that first pass and it gets completed like right to the goal line, basically?
I went crazy. Somebody actually behind me was taunting me about my Pop takes right before it happened. And then it happened. And then they sat down. And I was like, let's go.
That basically happened in our chat because we were giving Mike Holmes a hard time about, he's kind of like, listen, the line stinks. Like Kyron, no quarterback's going to succeed with the way this line is. And I don't necessarily disagree with that. But the whole notion that Kyron gives us the best chance to win is hard to keep saying when we keep losing. And so, but I do get it. And then on the very first play when Pop came in, he threw that pass and we're like, there you go, coach. What do you think about that?
It was a dime.
It was a dime. It was a great pass.
When Kyron ran out of bounds on like 4th and 3, I was like, I'm over it. Like,
yeah.
Like, come on. Like, well, there's no reason now for him to be like good kid, great family. We failed him developmentally, but 50-50, halves on him too. Like, no, like you just gotta.
The run out of bounds, that hurt everybody. Yeah.
It's got to be Pop Watson next week.
You think
it has to be.
If it's up to you, Sam, it's Pop to start against you.
It has to be. I mean,
They need to bring him back in.
Kyron is terrified before every single snap. And it's not like he's not playing hard. I think he's running the ball very hard, well. Yeah. Part of the reason Virginia Tech's rushing metrics are so good is because of Kyron Drones. But there's just no dynamism to this offense. There's no creativeness. It's so vanilla that you can't get 9-10 good plays in a row on a drive. And that's why they can't score any touchdowns.
I think it's like we are, yes, the run game, efficiency, number one, and success rate, all this stuff. We are doing everything possible to scratch and claw to get those every single yard. Every single yard is a battle. And then we run, that battle ends and we can't win the war. And that's just how every drive seems to go.
I will also say for this game, when I got into the stadium on Saturday and was watching the teams finish up their warm up, and Miami's warming up to my right, Virginia Tech's on the left. My brother-in-law and I, we looked to our right, looked to the left, you looked to the right, and you went, this ain't going to go well. I mean, that was the first game this season where the other team was significantly bigger than Virginia Tech. Miami's offensive line is so large. It is astonishing. They look like a bunch of Bigfoots out there. It's insane. And
that's why we didn't have a sack.
If there was ever a reason, like that is a perfect game, especially on the line of scrimmage, to look at. This is the difference of 4 and 5-star recruits versus 3-star developmental guys. That's the difference right there. Virginia Tech, I think, had one negative play forced defensively in this game, and it was on like a weird reverse that Caleb Spencer.
Yeah, because they had the bad snap. That's not what they're talking about.
They had the bad snap. That's it. Virginia Tech also, not great, but 8 quarters without forcing a punt. They finally forced the punt in the 4th quarter of this game.
8 quarters without a sack as well. Because we didn't have a sack against Florida State either. And yeah, Sam, and that's the thing that's going to change under Franklin, is at least you hope so. And offensive line comparisons are not what we want to do because that's one of our weakest positions. But yeah, Miami has a great offensive line. They have a great defensive line. And Kyron had no time to throw. Like they were rolling him out. They're doing what they can do. And he had a couple passes. Aiden Green had, a decent game for for what he can do. He made that one sensational catch on the sideline, which was awesome. But the whole Pop Kyron thing. It's not like I think Kyron would be better with a better offensive line. But I think if the offensive lines are equal, like Pop gives you at least just as good a chance to win. And if to me, just the body language, the way Pop like ran that ball in and celebrate, it's just like there's just a certain juice there I want to untap for UVA. That's kind of where I'm at. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, he smoked him last year, belt the ass. But the year before that, Kyron did it. But I think
they're both 1-0 against UVA. So
at this point, you got to,
Pop could enter legendary status if he gets 2 wins against UVA as a backup.
Yeah. Yeah, I here's what's going to happen though. It's Kyron's played 3 years for this team. They're not going to rip the starter tag on his last game. They're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
Unless he can't physically go, which it seemed like he got folded up on in that game, and that's why he can't. It's not like they put Pop in because they benched Kyron. Like he left hurt, for people that might not be aware. They're not going to rip the starter tag in his last game. They're not going to do it.
I think it's going to be really difficult for Virginia Tech to win if they don't.
They said there's going to be a package for Pop. Well, that's what Monty kind of said in the post game.
Yeah, it's going to be from the beginning of the
Taylor.
It's going to be from the cover of the playbook to the back cover of the playbook. That's his package. Get out there, kid. You've been here for 3 freaking years.
You know, I'm kind of with you. Let's talk about UVA quickly here, fellas. 7 p.m. Charlottesville, Saturday night. The line is 10.5. UVA is favored. I asked on Twitter today, when was the last time they were favored by double digits against Virginia Tech? Someone said like 03 or 04, and then someone else is like, it's got to be 1992. And I tend to believe with the 92 thing because I was trying to go through it, and it wouldn't have been 04. Like we were good in 04.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think like the year Bryce Perkins was decent, like 2018, like they were better than us. I don't think they would have been a 10-point line that year. And it's kind of hard to look up historical lines. It's not as easy as you'd like it to be, but it's been a while. Long story short. What are your initial thoughts on the matchup, Dan? Like, how are you feeling about going to this game? Have you had a thought process like you think we can spoil their season? What are you thinking?
I've said all year, like, until they do it, they're not doing it. Like, I don't believe they can until I see it happen. Like, twice in the last 20-some years, I don't care. Like, everything matters. Like, this game, like, everything is on the line for them. The only thing for us is it's the last game this staff and this team will play together. And they have nothing to lose. And they can run the ball. And UVA has made us into the demon that they think we are. We didn't do that. Like, they made that mental barrier in their head. We had nothing to do with that. We were more concerned with beating WVU and Pitt because they were punching back. So, like, until they can go out there and beat us, we're winning that game. Like, bet it. Like, 10 plus 10.5, easy money.
I love it. I was actually shocked when the line came out and it was that much. Sam, what are your initial thoughts on that line in the game?
It's a little bit big of a line, right? Orange maroon glasses, take them off, put them down to the side. It's a bit big of a line for me, especially with the style of play Virginia Tech plays and how UVA's offense has kind of started to slip here over the last few weeks. Actually, if you look at advanced metrics, Virginia Tech's offense has been better over the past 6-7 weeks. But UVA does a lot of really good things in the margins. You can call it luck, golden horseshoe, whatever it is, but in football, you create your own luck, and Virginia's done a very good job of that and capitalizing off of it. They do a great job scoring touchdowns off of turnovers. They do a great job of getting sacks in key situations. They are they're top 25 in havoc percentage as a defense. They do, however, not. They're very mediocre in rushing defense. Very mediocre. A lot of their like rush yards per game metrics have to do with getting sacks on the quarterback. They do get a lot of sacks as a defense. I think Virginia Tech's going to be able to run the ball pretty well in this game. They just have to find a way to score touchdowns, because as bad as Virginia Tech's defense is, I think with the style of play, the winner of this game probably only has to get to like 28.
I think you might be right on that.
And so if Virginia Tech can just find a way to get the ball in the end zone and not settle for field goals, there's a chance. I feel pretty good about 10.5. This pass defense is probably the worst in the nation at this point. And
It's 122 in opposing passer rating.
I mean, it doesn't matter what you look up; they're pretty bad. 133rd in success rate. It's like, yeah. I think they kind of need like a miracle performance to keep Chandler Morris from throwing for 300 plus. I really do.
Well,
Yeah, and Morris has
yards.
he's got some health concerns, right, Dan? Like he's been banged up and this and that, but they just had a bye week. Why not give them a bye week right before the Tech game? Let's go with that.
Go ACC.
And maybe that's a reason why the line is so high. But does he kind of scare you? Because like his legs are. Do you think they're the better part of his game? I'm just trying to like talk it out with you.
Yeah, I think he can be, but I think you can get to him. Like, and the way our defense plays reckless, somebody's going to catch a 15-yarder on him, and like it's going to not incapacitate him, but I think it's going to hinder him. Like he's going to take. Like we're going to get a flag in this game. It's going to happen. Like we're going to nail him, and we're going to get a flag. I don't know how many FBS teams are there?
136. Yeah.
Yeah, and their strength of schedule was what, 86?
Yep.
Yeah, well, depending on where you look, it can be worse than that. Yeah.
So like, I mean, they have give them credit. It's hard to win games every Saturday, and they have put 9 of them together. But the Wazoo, like, I'm not moved. They could beat us, they could, but I don't. Like, I have a hard time like letting that happen in my head, because it's kind of like Vanderbilt. Like I have a hard time like saying Vanderbilt is gonna like. It took me forever to be like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna bet Vanderbilt this week.
Can you pull that comment back up real quick?
Yeah. Can we?
I wanted to throw up. This happened
so
3
bad.
times. And 2 of the times it was completed, for one for a touchdown, the other for a big gain. The third time it should have been completed, but Carson Beck missed him.
Ben Bell in pass coverage, if you're listening.
Or Tony at that.
Schematically, the defense has been a bit of a mess. All year long, there's been schematic things that are problematic, whether it's playing guys not enough or too much or in the wrong spots. And I realize we've got a lot of attrition, but that was not something that can happen again. Absolutely weird. They talked about it on TSL. I don't know why that was happening.
We'll be asking the question tomorrow at press.
Yeah.
It's on Ryan's list.
Okay, good. So UVA 31 in the SP plus. We are 103. So on an advanced metrics standpoint, that 10.5 actually does make sense. But on anyone who's watched the rivalry for 26 years or longer knows that it's going to be damn hard for UVA to beat us by 10 plus points. And they know that too. And we have to hope that this game is in their heads. Now, someone like Chandler Morris coming from Texas the year before, like ignorance can be bliss in that sense. Like he doesn't know like all the warts they've had in this game and all the near misses and all the losses they've taken and not being able to go over the game. This is new to him. So that might, like, you'd actually want that. For Virginia Tech, the trick for JC Price and the guys that know about this rivalry is to be like, this is life and death for the Isaiah Cashes of the world who are new to the team. You know, this is life and death, Jeff Overton. You know, you need to play like everything depends on this. And that's the message that's hard. In the portal era and these rivalries, like that's one of the things that I think gets hurt the most. but sometimes like the laundry itself makes these games the way they are. Like it's just in the DNA of the uniform matchup.
Dan, what uniform matchup do you want?
All white.
You want to go with the all whites?
I want to rock all whites. And they can wear all blue. I don't care what they wear.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Dan's not worried about the other side of the field. He's worried about our guys.
Need to wear a skirt and hike it up. That's what they need to do. Because
pleated khakis, a Vineyard Vines button down, and a vest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are either of you guys going to this game?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sam's going to be away, I think.
I'll be in Texas. I do think it is fun. Like, it's a fun place to see a game if you feel like you're going to win, because Charlottesville is a very quintessential college town. And if you do win, it is fun. It's going to be cold, dude.
Yeah.
It's going to be like 30 degrees at kickoff.
And I don't know if you've seen the ticket prices, but they are expensive as hell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually kind of shocked. I looked on the Game Time app today. It was nuts, man. We're talking like $200 right now. And that'll probably come down, but I was really surprised it would cost that much. Maybe UVA fans are finally going to a football game now. Or we're buying up all the tickets. I don't know which it is.
I went 2 years ago at Scott, and then I went obviously at home last season. But this year I was like, look, I've been to a lot of games. I went to Atlanta. It's been a rough year, like football wise. Like I might just watch it on the couch. I got tickets to Broncos Commanders Sunday Night Football the next night.
Oh,
I'm like, do I want to sit out in Charlottesville in 20 degrees and then go sit out in Landover in 20? Like, I'm not old, but like, I'm also like, I don't need to do this twice. No,
that's
Dan, you need like a cleanse. I feel like, you need a nice little detox from this Virginia Tech football season.
Yeah, it's coming.
We all need that. We all need that. Trust me.
The therapist too, probably.
Swimming and recruiting though, so it's going to be.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, December, it's not going to let up. Like, we haven't gotten that first big commitment yet of the Franklin era, but I can't imagine it's too far away based on some of the crystal balls that have been dropping on 247. We're all keeping a close eye on that stuff. But yeah, and this is great. Come on, boys. Let JC smoke one more stogie on the field. Hell yeah. Because we don't know if we'll have JC back again. Like, going to be a lot of new staffers coming in. Some guys will probably be retained. But if this is JC's last ride as a Hokie coach, you wanted to see it again. And I have said for weeks that we're beating UVA. Now, as the game gets closer, it obviously gets more scary. It becomes more real. It's easy to say that a month out. But I kind of feel the same way Dan does. Like, I just feel like this is our game to lose. Now, we might lose it. We might screw it up a million ways because that's what we've kind of done this year. But if you're going to play one clean game, this is the one to play. And I did want to get Sam and Dan's thoughts tonight because Sam is going to not be on the show tomorrow night. I am recording.
This is
not solo. I will have Grayson with me, but this is Sam's last hurrah before
this is the last show with this backdrop. Take it in because it's gone.
Sam's moving. He's moving
permanently out of here.
The big city calls.
Yeah, I guess so, man. I guess so.
But yeah, he'll be going to Austin early for moving and then Austin for the holidays. And then I'll be with Grayson. That's right. Former Sons of Saturday member Grayson. He will be here with me. We'll talk about how we got James Franklin. And both of us were on Twitter saying that not necessarily our favorite coach, but we'll be dissecting it in a way that hopefully will be fun for everyone to listen to. Will you
be playing the will you be playing the 2D theme song before that, or will you be playing like the what's the Larry Davis show? I'm blanking on the name of it.
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Curb Your Enthusiasm theme.
Yeah. Oh man, no, it'll be good because Sam knows we've talked 1,000 hours about James Franklin already this year, but I do want to there's a couple people out there, and when we first got like, oh, James Franklin to Virginia Tech. There was more than just a few people that were like, I don't know if I like that idea. Like it was a good percentage of like the social media that was like, I'm not so sure I want James Franklin. That quickly turned once it became more of a reality. People got more excited about the possibility. You look into it a little bit more. You look into the recruiting. You look into the donor opportunities, and it kind of sweetens that deal all the way around. And, you know, we all get to a place where we're comfortable with it. And you had Grayson on your show. What was it, last week, Dan, talking about it? And you did the Ric Flair clip.
Yeah, dude. With a tear in my eye, this is the greatest day of my life.
Whether you what is it? Whether you love it or hate it, it's you need to get to know it, something like that.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, that's what we'll be talking about tomorrow. So, Dan, we will say goodbye now. We appreciate you being here to break down some of the Hokie stuff, but we will say our goodbyes. I like that T-shirt, by the way. Where can people grab that thing?
TheSWAshop.com.
There you go. The Terrordome.
Click collaborations or collections and Tales from the Terrordome. There's also
Sweet.
a holiday sweater or a Christmas sweater if you're old school.
The Christmas sweater is pretty sweet. I do like that piece of gear on there.
It's pretty sexy.
That's where you can find all of our stuff as well as Dan's merch, the SWVAshop.com. Dan, thank you as always, and we will talk to you soon, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Later.
Go.
See you, man.
All right. So, Sam, we're going to close out with a little bit of conference races and some playoff picks. First, I did want to tell you guys that we are brought to you by Roback and Compass Coffee. We have one code that you can use in these two very great places. 2 Deep VT, all one word. Go to compasscoffee.com. They are going to be running some dynamite specials this week, and they've got all the blends, the Christmas holiday blends. They're out. 2 Deep VT will get you a nice discount, 20% off your first order, and maybe more on Black Friday. Keep your eyes peeled to our 2 Deep feed, Instagram, all that kind of thing. And then on Roback, same thing. 2 Deep VT, load up your cart. They got the hoodies, the quarter zips, all the colleges, women's stuff, Roback Crave activity. Sam, you're not drinking tonight. I started with this East Branch Brewing Alluvium. You're having that protein. Yeah. Which I did buy a canister of the powder. It's really good.
It's really good stuff, man.
It's one of the best
free
proteins
ads.
I've had. Yeah. Now, but we'll say we like it. Alluvium, you can see on here. It's kind of like aluminum, but not quite. East Branch Brewing. This is in Downingtown, Pennsylvania, right in the heart of it. There used to be this great like Mexican place underneath, but upstairs they've got the brewery and they've got like a full barbecue menu. So highly recommend East Branch Brewing Company. The Alluvium was probably my favorite beer that I first got from them. 6.5% IPA. It's hazy, but it's not like a New England. It's got a little bit of that bitter, kind of your down the middle IPA. Very tasty. Alluvium from East Branch Brewing. I'll go 3.75. It's not like it's got 3 years ago. I liked it a lot more than I like it now. Do you ever notice that, Sam, where like your taste buds on a beer kind of change?
Yeah, I've had that a little bit. Honestly, my taste in beer has changed a little bit. That's why I've started liking some of the darker stuff a little more than I did a few years ago.
Yeah, and you're growing up too. Like you haven't.
I'm a big boy now.
You haven't even gotten to 30. Like my beer sensibilities changed so much over the decade you have coming up. So much to look forward to.
Oh yes, so much. I'm so excited. Yeah,
it's fun getting older. Your taste buds start dying, and you need stronger beer to taste it.
Yeah, I'm very much in the like adult in the Christmas season. Like, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that. Like,
yeah, it's a hamster wheel kind of season.
The magic of the season is quickly leaving.
I know. I just want to stay in bed and watch Christmas movies and like be like a little kid again. And instead, it's 1,000 holiday parties and the food and getting ready and cleaning your house. But we love that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Other interesting games and conference races. Friday, NC State beat Florida State. UNLV beat Hawaii. The UNLV game, I wanted that to be more fun than it was because UNLV just kind of took it to them.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be really fun, and then Hawaii just like stopped scoring. NC State, though, the magical punting of NC State, like that was one of the that's why I picked NC State money line in that game. Carter Finley is a weird place, and that was hilarious.
NC State punting also excellent this weekend. The one ricochet that went like 40 yards.
It went back to
backwards.
it was recovered on the original line of scrimmage.
We also got a comment about our game. I pray VT whoops those frauds. I can't believe they could steal this from Pitt. This is a guy with Pitt in his avatar. So we got a Pitt fan chiming in. Thank you for the comments. We appreciate them. But yeah, so NC State did come out victorious, but Norvell got the vote of confidence again. He will be back next year. Congratulations, Florida State. You got your guy. As for UNLV, they moved to 9-2. They've won 3 in a row after losing 2 in a row. So someone's going to get a very good coach next year in Dan Mullen. Or maybe he'll stick around another year. I don't know. Haven't heard so much about Dan Mullen.
There's not a lot of smoke there.
There's not
a lot of smoke.
But I would imagine in the next 2 weeks, he'll get some calls.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame sent Syracuse straight to hell. 70-7. Sam's doing a yawn in honor of that game.
That is what they had. What was it like? 21-0, no offensive plays, and then they were at 35-0 after 5 offensive plays.
Crazy,
unheard of.
Fran Brown, what is going on, man? I know you lost your quarterback.
Stinky guy.
I know you lost your quarterback, but this is not a quarterback issue. This is pride. This is respect for the game. This is the most basic thing. And then his post-game comments are just like getting worse every week too. Like so bad. 70-7. It was the most points that Notre Dame scored since like FDR was in power.
I do get the sense that Fran
or maybe
Brown,
Hoover. It was 1932. Who was in office in 1932?
That's not a level of history that I don't know that. But anyway, Fran Brown seems like the kind of coach who worries more about like coming up with fake things to motivate his team than he does actually getting his team ready to play games.
Yeah. They'll run the sprints after the Connecticut win was like the shot across the bow of like, this guy for real?
I mean, the like being upset at John Love for like doing what every kicker does at halftime of every game and like making that your post-game thing. Like there are red flags all over the place with Fran Brown.
He did have a fire bomber jacket on at the game, I will say. He looked really good losing 70-7. Vandy smoked Kentucky. Why can't I talk? Pavia threw for a school record 484, 5 touchdowns. If he's not in New York, something terrible has happened.
He's had some games like this, and then he's had games where he hasn't looked good at all. So I do wonder if he is going to make that top 3. But dude, is it Kentucky? Woof. Like
this was Clark Lee said statement game. It really kind of was a statement game.
Yeah.
Like,
this was a like we are clearly better than this program now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Texas did not play around with Arkansas. A lot of people like that as a sneaky upset pick. They covered. They won. Arch had 389 and 4 touchdowns. Did he catch a touchdown too? Or was that a different game?
I don't know, but next week that's a pretty big game happening in Austin.
Yeah,
that's a pretty big game.
A&M in Texas. And that is one where there's really no bad outcome for the SEC because if Texas wins, it's like, oh, maybe Texas should be on the playoff. And A&M's not going anywhere. So like that's kind of, but if Texas A&M wins, it's kind of what they all thought anyway, and it doesn't matter. It's a big game for those two schools, though. Like it's massive. And if Texas wants any shot to even be in the conversation for the playoff, they have to come up with a win. Michigan moved to 9-2, beating up on Maryland. Great choice bringing Loxley back. Terps, great choice. That he's not a dead man walking or anything like that.
Nope.
So Michigan 9-2 with a big game for them.
At all? Is he walking at all? I thought he was just like dead.
There's so many coaches like that, dude. Whether it's Norvell or Loxley or Aranda, who just got the signal that he's coming back despite getting crushed this past weekend.
So what do Aranda, Stoops, Fran Brown, Loxley.
You could have thrown Fickle on there, but they've shown a little something.
They have. What do they all
They
have
beat
in
two-
common?
I don't know what.
Basketball schools. Just saying. Hoops has
Yeah.
started.
Yeah, you are correct. Tennessee crushed Florida. This is another example of what this weekend was. It was just crush after crush. This was a 3.5 point spread. Tennessee
In the
smoked
swamp.
their asses. Yeah.
In the swamp. Yeah. I mean, this is also one of those where for years people said like, oh, Miami, like their recruits get a bump that they don't deserve, and like some other schools. Florida might have a bunch of those guys on their team.
Yeah.
Like Florida's talent just might not be that good.
It's possible, but they've also competed with a lot of. They beat Texas. They competed with LSU. I mean, I guess LSU sucks. I'm trying to think of like when they were playing well. They got it close with Miami at one point. I don't know. They can't be totally devoid of talent, but this was ugly. Gators and Knowles. That's going to be a shit fest. Just
they. Ugh.
TCU held on to beat Houston 17-14. SMU spanked Louisville 38-6. I said earlier in the show, SMU is playing the best football of anyone in the ACC right now, and I don't think it's all that close. Wake is 8-3 after whipping up on my Blue Hens. Dicker, if he wins a 9th game next week against Duke, he's coach of the year.
It's crazy. I mean, we knew he was a good coach at Wazoo, but what he's doing this year is phenomenal.
He doesn't even have a quarterback.
No.
Like
he's only had a running back for like 3/4 of the season.
It's nuts. Their defense is obviously really good, but it's amazing. Duke does a fake field goal at the end to win it against UNC in the rivalry game. Ballsy play call, fun play call by Manny Diaz. I will give credit where it's due in that respect. Manny Diaz is really good against bad teams. He is.
Good for them. I mean, if your goal with Duke football is to make a bowl game every single year, Manny Diaz is probably going to do that.
Yeah, they don't schedule tough out of conference. He will probably do that most seasons. Stanford whipped Cal thanks to multiple defensive touchdowns, including the one where Andrew Luck was on the sideline yelling ball.
Amazing clip.
Which was fantastic. Penn State beat up on Nebraska. Players are starting to rally around Terry Smith. Terry Smith was wearing the Joe Paterno pin. Certainly a choice. Katron Allen becomes the all-time leading rusher, as I said earlier in the show. Singleton touchdown record. It's nice that they've rallied. And Terry Smith, I don't think he'll get the job, but to think he's not a candidate, I think would be wrong. I don't think he's a top candidate. I don't think that's what they had in mind when they fired James Franklin. But
also, this Nebraska team is faltering pretty hard down the stretch.
It was funny, though, that they did this to Matt Rule.
Yeah.
Who everyone thought was
the shoo-in guy for it. Yeah.
And we already mentioned Wisconsin beating a ranked Illinois. In the G6, JMU survives against Wazoo. Cougs were up 17-10 at the half. But again, those JMU halftime adjustments, Chesney's a killer with those. North Texas takes care of business against Rice. You called that one. San Diego State takes care of business against San Jose State. Some wacky results with regard to like Southern Miss lost to South Al. UTSA crushed ECU. Don't play in the UTSA Dome. Don't go there.
The Alamo Dome is haunted.
Yeah.
You need to stay away from the Alamo Dome.
FIU beat Jacksonville State. Another
FIU's been pretty good this year.
They've
done a really good job. Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah, fighting pit bulls. Conference races. So I'll give you the most likely teams to play in these conference races, and then we're going to do our playoff picks. Most likely teams to play in the ACC is Virginia and SMU. That is, of course, if Virginia were to beat Virginia Tech. They are winning in. SMU is winning in. Pittsburgh, Miami, and GT need a lot of things to go their way. But Pitt and Miami are playing each other. So they'll have an answer there. It's a question of, like, Miami needs us and Wake Forest or NC State to win, or they need Cal, Wake Forest, and NC State to win. Like, there's a couple different scenarios, but SMU is probably going to beat Cal, and they're going to be in.
Dead coach bounce. That game's in Berkeley.
Cal's been better away from home than at home, I feel like.
That's true.
And then so that's it for the ACC. Big 12 race, most likely matchup, Texas Tech and BYU. Arizona State has the slimmest of outside chances of playing in this game.
Yeah. I wish it was a little bit more chaotic than it ended up being. We really needed Cincinnati to win for that to happen.
But it's going to be BYU and Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Big Ten race, most likely matchup, Ohio State and Indiana. However, we know that the game is this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan is a good team. They are 9-2. They can beat Ohio State. They believe they can beat Ohio State. The game is in the big house. And if they win, they're going to the Big Ten championship game. It's very, very interesting. Ohio State hasn't really been tested in the last couple weeks.
No, and it's tough for them too, because the game where I thought they would potentially have that big game in the middle of the season against Penn State obviously didn't pan out. They didn't play Oregon in the regular season. They didn't play Indiana in the regular season. Washington was without like 3 starting offensive linemen in that game, so they were able to win that one. I mean, even with those starters, Ohio State probably wins, but still, it's like, it's not because their schedule has been super easy. It's just kind of how it's fell in their lap a little bit, and also the fact that they're probably the best team in the country by a good margin.
Yeah. In the SEC, most likely matchup, A&M and Alabama. A&M wins, they're in. Bama beats Auburn, it's in. But Alabama beating Auburn is not a foregone conclusion here.
Nope.
And that would really make things a
Night
little
game
bit more
on the
chaotic.
Plains.
Yeah, it's at Auburn. If there's a 3-way tie, Alabama would win the 3-way tie. If Alabama lost and Ole Miss beat Mississippi State, Georgia goes to the SEC title game thanks to its win over the Rebels. So that's something to keep in mind in the Egg Bowl. In the American, most likely matchup is Tulane against North Texas. However, this one, there's a lot of weird things that are going on in the American because of the way they decide some of the tiebreakers, which comes down to college football playoff rankings. You can't even necessarily say one team winning means they're in the American.
Yeah, because like, what are ECU losing? Did that knock them pretty far down the list?
Yes, it does knock them down, although it's not like impossible.
Because they were kind of the wild card team, I felt like.
Yeah, they got crushed at
Hadn't
UTSA.
really, because like Memphis and South Florida and North Texas, like they had all played each other. Navy too, Tulane, but ECU didn't draw those teams on the schedule as much. But that loss to UTSA, I think, kind of knocks them down.
Basically, if Tulane wins and the rankings hold, Tulane is in. That, because Tulane's already been ranked.
Who do they play this week?
They've got Temple. Wait, no. They just played Temple.
They just played Temple.
They are playing shit, I don't have it here.
I have it somewhere.
And the same is kind of true for North Texas. North Texas is playing Temple. If they win, they only have 1 loss, so I would imagine they'll be higher. There is a case for Navy, who is also 6-1 in conference. They play at Memphis on Thanksgiving, though. So that's a tough game. And they either need to be ranked above the Green Wave or Mean Green in the rankings to do it. And I don't know, because they already have other losses, if they can do it. So, it's
the big one. The big one, I think, is Memphis Navy. That's probably the biggest one.
It's just crazy that Navy,
Charlotte, so they should feel pretty good.
Navy, North Texas, and Tulane have not played each other. That's why they're all sitting at 6-1. Like, none of them have played each other, and that's why it's going to come down to this weird college football playoff tiebreaker. I think it's going to be Tulane and North Texas. I think Texas is going to win, I think North Texas is going to beat whoever they end up playing in this game, but I don't think North Texas is going to lose to Temple at home. I thought Temple was going to put up a better fight versus Tulane. We talked about that a lot. They did not. Tulane went up to that cold weather and said, "No way, Jose." They took care of it. Yep. And then JMU is in the Sun Belt title game. JMU is one of the few teams that has actually locked up their title game appearance. There is very few games across the nation that have a locked in participant. It's kind of nuts with 1 week to go.
Yeah, they have to feel pretty good about that. Now, one thing is they really need style points against Coastal. I wonder, sometimes you can push too hard for that and it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So I think they need to be careful this week in Conway.
And you just need to get out of Conway with a win. I mean, that's not an easy. They got crushed by South Carolina this week, did Coastal, but that game for JMU is not going to be easy on the road.
No, it's
we'll
not.
see. Stock up and stock down. We'll do this quick. SMU, Northwestern, stock up for me.
SMU, that was mine. I mean, that was they catapulted themselves into the driver's seat for a college football playoff spot. Oregon, I think, brought themselves back to the elite conversation this weekend, and that's really, really huge. And I think BYU, they have an argument, man. They really have a good argument, and it's hard to argue against them. So BYU, Oregon, and SMU are my top three.
I put Northwestern in there because they're bowl eligible, and that did not seem like it was going to be the case. I really like Ryan Braun. Like, they'd be crazy to not try to hang on to him. I've heard like some mixed things about him. Like, they might not be in love with it. It's like, I don't know what experience you expect. The guy's playing his games in like a makeshift lakeside stadium, and he got them to a bowl this year.
Yeah.
It's really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Vandy and Pavia, stock up. UNLV, stock up. And I'll give Tulane stock up, man. I didn't think they'd win that game in Philly, and they did. So stock up. Stock down, Syracuse. Historically embarrassing. Baylor, 4th loss in 5 games. Liberty. They lost to Louisiana Tech this weekend. They are 4-7.
They were up like 21 points in that game too and lost in overtime.
Stock down, Liberty. Do you have any stock downs?
Yeah. Say my biggest one is Georgia Tech. I mean, you had it there, man. You had it. That was the game that you needed to come out, like, to come out and be down 28-0 in that game at home at night. Can't happen. Big boy football program, that doesn't happen. So that's a major stock down for me. Another team that I had stock down was obviously freaking Syracuse. That's disgusting. That's vile, egregious, a disgrace to the sport. To again, like, you have
outrageous.
It is stupid. It is stupid bad. A team that we didn't give stock up to that we maybe should, and we need to talk about UConn again. UConn is like on pace for like putting up some serious numbers back-to-back years. And Skylar Bell, I think, should win the Biletnikoff. He won't, but I think he should.
Yeah. They won. They barely beat, who was it, FAU?
Mm-hmm.
They won.
On the road.
Yeah.
I mean, all three, like, UConn has 3 losses. All 3 are on the road in overtime.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they deserve some stock up love for sure. I had Cincinnati in my stock down because they had everything on the line and they just fucked it up. Like, they had so many freaking dumb mistakes.
And then also my stock down, I watched Washington UCLA because I had a fair amount of money on that game in multiple different ways. And UCLA's, like, a lot of coaches will say, like, the ball is the program. The fate of the program is the football. And you must hold on to the football. I've never seen a team just, like, not care about holding on to the football like UCLA did. The fake field goal they ran was so utterly bad. It made me sad. Even if I was rooting for the Huskies, it made me sad. And also, Pete, why is the holder not down while holding the ball?
That's a good question. Never really thought about that one.
I feel like that's a kind of an issue.
Not once has that ever entered in my mind, but it's a good question.
Yeah. But
he should really have to, like, squat or something.
Yep.
All right, let's get to your playoff picks, man.
Yeah. So SEC remains the same for me. Big Ten remains the same for me. You can see them up there if you're watching on YouTube, but it's A&M, Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana. In the ACC, I'm going for chaos. I'm going for Miami. I'm going for Miami. Look, the path for Miami right now actually isn't that much. They have to beat a team that they're better than, right? And then UVA has to overcome their issues with Virginia Tech. SMU has to travel to California to play a team on a dead coach bounce after they just had a huge win. We've seen that happen plenty of times in college football, including the Hokies doing that to NC State.
Yep.
And then who else they need to lose? Duke plays Wake Forest. Wake Forest is a better team than Duke, significantly in some weeks.
I don't think they even need to worry about Duke. No, you're right. They do.
They just need two of those three.
Yeah.
And it's not that crazy. And if they get to a neutral site game in Charlotte, I know they've never done it. And I know it's like the running joke, but there is not a team in this conference on a neutral field that I would pick against Miami.
Is the best case scenario for the ACC to be SMU and Miami in the championship game?
I think so. And I think the best case for the ACC is Miami going through.
Yeah, because they might actually be able to win a game or get a decent ranking.
And it's like if SMU back-to-back years is in your title game, that says something about this conference. And I know Virginia Tech's like trying to do their part to get back, but just in general, like the football brands in this conference have not held their weight.
Yeah, if you have a team that comes from the G6, G5, and goes to the championship game in year one, he goes undefeated in the regular season, and then this year has one loss in the regular season, you're right. It does speak volumes about this conference. It really does. And but I don't care. Like SMU at this point, they've got money, they've got talent, they've got a good coach, and they seem to have some at least like decent national recognition. Like I think if Pitt wins the ACC, like everyone sees it as a joke.
Yeah, I agree there. I have Notre Dame in there. I have Texas Tech in there from the Big 12, and I'm going with JMU. I think they're the best G5 team. I don't know if the committee is going to see it that way. I think they have their heart set on the American. I think the American we're looking now and it might be a bit overrated. I mean, South Florida, not the team that we thought they were at the beginning of the season. Memphis has been inconsistent. Navy's been inconsistent. Tulane's been inconsistent. I'm going to go JMU, but I'm also feeling Tulane is pretty likely, especially with the wins that Northwestern has been able to get in the second half of the year.
I thought I had mine here. I do. All right, here are mine. There's only a few differences here. Our SEC and our Big Ten are the same, though Michigan could throw a huge monkey wrench into everything if they were to beat Ohio State. I think this is the year Ohio State gets it done. So A&M, Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana. In the ACC, I've had SMU for 2 weeks, called it early. They are fully in control of their destiny here. They're one of the very few teams that if they win 2 games, they're going to be in the playoff, and they will fulfill this spot on your screen. I have Notre Dame in. The committee wants to put them in. They're not losing this week. They have looked stellar for like 10 weeks in a row. They're getting in. They're going to get in. And Miami will probably not be ranked over them at any point. Even if they both finish 10-2, I think it's wrong, but I think Notre Dame will be in front of Miami because that's what the committee's been doing for 3 weeks now. And even though the strength of schedule for Notre Dame should be decreasing with Syracuse and Stanford back-to-back, they just beat Syracuse 70-7, and they did that on purpose. They're very aware of what's happening, and they have the ability to win with style. Texas Tech is my team in the Big 12. I debated on whether I need to fit BYU in here somewhere, but like we'll find out tomorrow night. I don't think BYU is going to be in a position to get in.
I think you would need one of the SEC teams to fall. You'd need one of the SEC teams to fall, I think.
Yeah, so let's talk about that in 1 second. My G5 is North Texas, and that's because 2 weeks ago or last week when I put them in here, they had the most likelihood to play in the American Championship. That alone was hard to determine. But I think if they get there, they're going to give anyone hell, so I'm staying with the pick. The Mean Green are my pick from the G5. I think the committee is going to put the American champion ahead of JMU as long as there's not crazy American chaos. As for the SEC, they're going to get 5 in unless something crazy happens. Michigan winning would scare them. It could potentially lead to an SEC team getting left out. GT winning could absolutely scare them. It would be very hard not to put GT in over Georgia. Like if GT were to beat Georgia, I don't think you can legitimately put a 2-loss Georgia in the playoff and not put Georgia Tech. You'd have to put them both or leave them both out or whatever. But the committee does what they want. We'll find out. Auburn winning would scare the shit out of the SEC. Mississippi State winning would scare the shit out of the SEC. LSU beating Oklahoma would kick Oklahoma out without a doubt. And Texas A&M would help them. It would potentially help them.
Let's move to the Big Ten. If Washington beats Oregon, now I think Oregon can win a national title, but if Washington beats Oregon, Oregon's going to drop into that bubble territory.
Yeah.
And that could also
I think they've done
something
enough
worth monitoring.
with the USC
I think they
win.
have, but
it only thing with Notre Dame is that the USC win does look just a little bit worse, and that's by far Notre Dame's best win. So will that affect them at all? Probably not. Just something to think about.
And the Oregon's win over USC felt more dominant than Notre Dame's. Like USC was in that game kind of the whole time.
Yeah, you're right. And both of them were in,
their respective stadiums.
Yeah, USC was on the road in both games. So pretty even there. So that's my playoff. I don't love it. I want to see some more crazy stuff going on. Like and I hate the idea of 11-1 BYU getting left out. I really do. I can only predict based on what I'm seeing the committee put out there. And that's where we are right now. Okay. That's going to do it for the show. We do have some games coming up this week in terms of rivalries, and I was going to share, I guess that doesn't do it for the show. Let me just share this real quick from David Hale. Rivalry week stage setter. UGA has won 20 of the last 23 against GT, including 7 straight. UK, 5 of the last 6. Kentucky has owned Louisville. They really freaking have. Clemson won 7 of 10 against SC, although hasn't SC won 2 out of the last 3?
I think so.
Yeah. VT, 23 of the last 25. I thought that was 24 of 26.
It might be. He might just be doing the 21st century.
Maybe. NC State has won 13 of the last 18. Duke has won 8 of the last 12 against Wake Forest. Not that anyone really cares about that. Notre Dame, 5 of the last 6 for Stanford, and they're going to win another one here. Florida State has won 9 of the last 14, but UF has won 4 of the last 6. So that is what you guys have to look forward to from the ACC standpoint. There's a lot of good games. Thanksgiving, of course, has Navy and Memphis. That's the only game on in terms of college on Thanksgiving. Friday, we get the Egg Bowl at noon. We get Georgia Tech and Georgia in Mercedes-Benz, which is a crock. Georgia Tech 12.5-point dogs. Texas A&M at Texas. Texas only 2.5-point dogs in this sim. Arizona at Arizona State. That's another one on Friday. Late.
That's
game.
a good. That's going to be a sneaky good game.
Oh yeah.
Texas live dogs at home.
Oh, they're live.
Okay,
they're live.
Just wondering.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw what South Carolina did to A&M. Texas is absolutely live.
Well, we saw what South Carolina did to A&M for 30 minutes.
I was impressed with Texas against Arkansas. I will say that.
That Arch Manning guy might not be terrible.
Yeah, he's getting better. And Arizona winning at Arizona State, good for BYU. Just like there are a lot of like these residual matchups in the Big 12 that could actually end up helping a BYU type in the playoff conversation. Saturday, you got Ohio State at Michigan. Michigan 9.5-point dogs. Hard not to take those points. I don't know.
That's tough.
Miami at Pitt. Pitt plus 6.5. Surprised that line's as big as it is.
Yes and no.
Back-to-back roadies for Miami, though.
But 6.5 is about where I would expect that, honestly.
Oregon at Washington, 6.5. Vandy at Tennessee. Tennessee, 2.5-point favorites.
I like that one in Knoxville. I like that one. Yeah.
That's a really big game for Vandy. They can win 10 games for like the first time ever, I think.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure like the Ottoman Empire was going around when Vanderbilt won 10 games the first time.
And Vandy, like if they want a shot at the playoff, which like we haven't even talked about them, but like they could end up 10-2 with the win over Tennessee. It's just that they don't have a whole lot else like really good on.
And that Mizzou isn't a thing anymore.
And LSU is not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
VT at UVA.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Saturday night.
Where are you watching this game? How are you mentally prepared? We're going to end on this. How are you mentally preparing for that game?
Bama, Auburn, and Alabama too.
No one. What do you call that game? The Iron Skillet or something?
Yeah, the Iron Bowl.
No one cares about that.
VT UVA. I was thinking about going to the game, but I have to admit, like the weather and the ticket prices are like,
worth it. Don't do that,
dude. And if I happen to go and I'm there and
you're gonna be so sad. Don't be sad.
And the only good thing is, like, if you are there, it's at 7 p.m. So you get a whole day to
be nervous,
be happy. I mean, I don't know. Like, enjoy yourself, talk shit, whatever. If you lose, it's only a few hours. You go to bed, you drive home, whatever. But I will tell you, I'm not paying $200 to go to a game at Scott Stadium. That is not happening. So I know Bill's going. I know Pat is going. They're going to be down there with some people. So I was considering it, but I don't know, man.
I think I'm going to try to watch in public so that
it's going to be stressful.
Like I want to be able to like turn it off, both mentally, like physically look away and mentally look away if needed.
I think I want to be out for it. I think I don't want to just be sitting on my couch, like on my phone, mad.
Oh, you can't be on your phone for this game.
Yeah. You're probably right. You're probably right.
This is a zero dark 30 game for sure.
And then after the game, you're just spewing venom if we win.
I mean, you're spewing venom, you're drinking it back up and you're spewing it back out. Oh my God, dude.
Well,
and of course I'm with I'll be with a UVA grad during it. So great for me. Great. Love that for me.
Yeah. I'm nervous. Tomorrow night, well, I'll do more of the UVA chatter with Grayson. We'll have a good time. And make sure you guys subscribe to sonsofsaturday.com so you don't miss that show. And Sons of Saturday feed on Apple Podcast and Spotify to follow the boys. Too Deep feed to follow Sam and I and get every College Football Monday episode in the feed. Set us up for automatic downloads, rate, review, and subscribe. Thank you for being here with us. If you made it to the end, use word Wolverine.
Ooh, good one.
Wolverine in the comments if you made it to the end. That would be fun if they pulled off that win. Until next time, let's go Hokies.
Go Hokies.